Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to Classic Kiss, presented by The Soundcheck. We got a good episode for you guys this week. We're going to be breaking down the famed Alive album from Kiss, which is their first live album. As always, I have my two co-hosts with me, Tyler.
What's up, everybody?
And Beau.
What's up, everyone?
And yeah, let's get right into it. I mean, I think this episode is going to be fun because we all love Kiss, especially as a live band. I prefer a lot of their live songs compared to what a lot of their studio stuff gives you. I think their live albums are just top notch, some of the best in the game of live albums. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of just want to start off and talk about your guys' opinions on live albums. What's your, I guess just, what is your opinion on a live album? Do you like them? Do you think they're overdone? Do you think they're just too much? Do you like studio versions better? I mean, obviously it usually depends on the song, but go ahead and just talk about, what you think of live albums.
I mean, I think in general, I like them, especially with Kiss. They kind of help add a different layer to them because they are so bombastic and over the top that doesn't necessarily come across on some of their studio stuff.
Right.
Besides them, I think it kind of varies. Because I mean, you can find some good like Guns N' Roses stuff live.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not the biggest Guns N' Roses fan. And of course, like Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
But I think for me they're kind of hit or miss. It really just depends on the band, I guess.
What about you, Beau?
It kind of depends on the band, but it also depends on where they're playing too, because
That's a fair
some
point.
crowds might be more into it than others, and then that plays into how well the band feels like the song is going.
Right, which I think also plays into this album too, and I'm sure we'll get into that at some point. But.
Yeah. I mean, good points from both of you guys. I love live albums. I mean, honestly, I remember even as a kid listening to, like, whenever I would listen to songs on YouTube, I would always look up live performances, mostly because I wanted to have that visual of them playing as well.
Right, which I think especially with Kiss applies double.
Right. And I agree. Like, I mean, one of my favorite live albums of all time is A Little South of Sanity from Aerosmith. I think it was recorded in the 2000s. I can't remember. It may have been a little bit later in the late 2000s. But my dad used to have like a bootleg CD of that, and he would play it all the time whenever, like during summer and stuff like that, when I would be helping him out, just whenever we'd be driving around, going to different places and stuff like that, he would always be playing that album. And once I found out that it was on Spotify, I mean, I pretty much have all the songs saved. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal album. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be honest, nothing really tops Alive. I mean, not in my opinion. I think that's true because, and also like you can make the case for it because Alive really did revolutionize the live album genre in a sense.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, it's not the first one, but I really think that this is the bar that all live albums that came after it are kind of judged by.
Right, exactly. Yeah, man. I mean, this album, it's just we're gonna get to it, but I think I'm trying to find my words here, but I really can't think of any other album that really comes close to this in terms of I mean, I like, what is it? Frampton Comes Alive. That's a live album, right? I think that sold really good numbers and stuff like that. But I think this is probably, I almost want to look it up. Like, if this is one of the highest selling live albums of all time,
I would imagine it's pretty close if it's not the top. If I had to guess, I'd bet Alive 2 probably sold more than this. But
really,
if I had to guess, but it would only really be because, I mean, of course, it came out after they were already big. So, I mean, all three albums that Alive 2 draws songs from were already platinum and or double platinum.
Right.
So, I mean, they were on top of the world at this point.
Right.
But as opposed to coming into this one. I mean, they were still almost nobodies.
Yeah, I can't really find anything on the sales figures or like of, where this ranks on, highest selling live albums and stuff like that. But I guess we could go and just go into it and talk about some general info on this. I do want to talk about Eddie Kramer a little bit. This album was produced by Eddie Kramer, if I could speak. And he's a British fellow. He produced their demo.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was British.
Really?
I don't think I ever knew
this. I want to say he is.
I don't know that much about him. I know, of course, a couple of albums he's done with Kiss because he, like you said, he did their demo. And then I want to say he did Ace's solo album also.
Right.
But I mean, just as a person, I don't really know that much about him.
Yeah, actually, it says he was born in Cape Town, Union of South Africa. That's cool. So I feel like that would. Isn't Anton Fig from around there too? Isn't he from Africa or South Africa or something like that? Maybe that's
I have no idea.
Maybe that's how Ace got to know Anton Fig.
That might be.
Was maybe through Eddie Kramer.
That might be.
Because I do want to talk about Eddie a little bit because he is one of my favorite producers. He did the demo for Kiss, which had a lot of their songs from the first 3 albums on it. They produced that, or he produced that at Electric Lady Studios.
Right.
And he also did, I think he did a little bit of stuff with Wicked Lester, right when Wicked Lester was coming to an end and basically forming Kiss. He kind of knew Paul and Gene from that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I don't know if he did any work, but so he does the demo. Unfortunately, he didn't do anything on the first 3 albums. A live comes around, so he does a live, and then in the future, which we'll get to, he does Rock and Roll Over. Let me see here. I think he does Ace's solo album, which is really cool because I know Ace loves Eddie Kramer as well.
Right.
He does a couple more albums from Kiss in the future, I think. And then
did he really do Rock and Roll Over?
Yes, he does Rock and Roll Over, and that's
for some reason I feel like I knew that. It sounds weird in my head.
Right. But yeah, he did Rock and Roll Over. And I can't wait to get to that one because I know
that's
recently,
gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, it's such a good album, and I think it's one of their more consistent albums, like overall consistency of sound wise and everything.
Yeah.
But let's see, the people that he's actually worked with in the past is pretty crazy. He's worked with Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and a plethora of other people.
Good
and
Lord.
Obviously Kiss. So yeah, I'm telling you, this guy, he's top notch producer.
Yeah.
He's worked with the best of the best, quite literally. I mean, when you have your hand on a mixture of people, especially Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Kiss, the Rolling Stones, and Beatles, those are literally the juggernauts of classic rock music.
Right.
There's no you can make the argument for, the Who should be in there too. And
you could throw the Who or Aerosmith or AC/DC, but you're kind of just splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah. Also looking here, it says in the 1980s, Kramer produced Buddy Guy.
Hey.
Classical guitarist John Williams. Let's see here. He produced and engineered Stone Free, a tribute to Jimi Hendrix, featuring tracks by Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, The Cure, Buddy Guy, classic violinist Nigel Kennedy, Living Colour, jazz guitarist Pat Metheny, and a bunch of different people, man. I mean, his discography is insane. You can't really.
It seems like
argue with it.
a wide range of artists too. That's even better.
Yeah.
So
it's especially, because even though people like Zeppelin, Beatles, and Stones, Kiss, and Hendrix are all the juggernauts of classic rock, they are all very different types of music. Not necessarily super different, but.
And you also said Eric Clapton in there.
Yeah, I think he did some stuff with Eric Clapton, and it's nuts, especially Buddy Guy. I mean, come on now,
And while we're talking about the producer on this specific album, I do kind of want to relate it to the last one, because it's something about Dress to Kill that I didn't learn until this week. So, I mean, of course, it couldn't be in the last episode.
Yeah.
Apparently, Kerner and Weiss, the guys who did the first Kiss album and Hotter Than Hell, apparently they claim that the reason they didn't do Dress to Kill wasn't because of money. It was because Neil felt they had too much influence on the band, and that them and Bill were trying to move them from Casablanca to a different label.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I read that in Nothing to Lose, and it was directly from them. And Neil, of course, claims, no, I mean, we just didn't have the money, which I could kind of see the argument if you wanted to make it from an outside point of view from, oh, well, then why'd they bring Eddie Kramer in to do this one? But Neil's not a producer. That's not what he does. He knows how to make a hit. He doesn't know how to make a hit.
Right.
So, I mean, of course, he brought in someone who could produce a live show and make it sound good. And Paul, even in Nothing to Lose, made the point of, no, it was money. Casablanca just couldn't afford a producer because they were running dry.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of going to take Paul's word on that one.
Yeah.
But I did find it interesting that for whatever reason, they felt that was a thing.
Right. And I think it's a classic tale of people in the music industry wanting to kind of blame it on not necessarily each other, but like I'm sure, you know, Richie and Kenny probably felt slighted a little bit, you know.
I'm sure they probably did.
And so they probably wanted to go ahead and be, or not, they just wanted to say like, oh, you know, like they actually got rid of us for this reason.
Yeah, it wasn't our fault.
Yeah. So, and I mean, honestly, when you look back at it, like, I mean, we already covered it, but I guess we'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Like, I mean, when you come off of Hotter Than Hell, even though it's a great album musically, like you guys kind of trashed the album.
Yeah, I can understand why Neil would be upset with that album.
And then obviously the whole, you know, money situation, which is still a problem up until the album that we're covering today.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just a little bit of background on the producers that Kiss has had. And I mean, that kind of sums it up for Eddie Kramer too. He's just a phenomenal producer and engineer. I mean, God, he's just, if you don't really know him, look him up. He has his handprints over everything from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He also does all of, I was trying to think of more Kiss albums that he does. He does Alive 2 and Alive 3. So he does,
really?
Yeah, he does the first 3 live albums from Kiss.
Which explains why those are still so solid.
Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
Agreed. Let me see here. Yeah, I guess we could just go ahead and start talking about the album a little bit. So there's a common misconception, which Kiss has actually come out publicly and cleared up. Oops, hit my mic. They've come out publicly and cleared up. Is that, no, this is not a completely live album at all.
And if I had to bet, I highly doubt any that came out before it and a lot that came out after it are either.
Right.
They're probably also very touched up.
Exactly. And I mean, that's the thing about a live album is like, yeah, if it's an unplugged set or, you know, more of an acoustic set or just in general, a band that doesn't like have as much theatrics as Kiss, then yeah, they're probably gonna, you know, be better off than what Kiss would, because Kiss, I mean, they run around, they're jumping around, they're putting on a show. Sometimes, you know, microphones go in and out, or they tend to like get knocked over and stuff like that.
Right. Or you get one of our favorite Kiss moments of Gene singing the wrong lyrics, even though he's playing the right bass line.
Exactly. Any diehard Kiss fan who watches videos on YouTube of them performing live knows that Gene fucks up the lyrics quite a bit.
Oh man!
Which
like
we actually,
3 times on Unplugged too?
Yeah,
to the same song.
Does he?
Oh yeah,
I think it's Domino.
It's Domino and fuck, I want to say it's either Domino or Rock and Roll All Night, or maybe it's Ace that's fucking up on Rock and Roll All Night with a guitar. But no, there's like a 2 or 3 hour extended cut of their Unplugged set on YouTube, and it shows all of their fuck ups and a little bit of crowd banter and stuff like that in between songs, and it's really funny. But yeah, I forgot about that, which we actually have a pretty interesting story about lyrical fuck ups from Gene. Tyler and myself, we went to see Kiss in Springfield, Illinois back in 2011, I think it was.
Yeah. It was 2011.
And yeah, so we actually had decent seats. We were up like in like one of the last rows, but we were on the side, so we were technically closer to the stage.
Yeah.
Like we were right at the side of the stage. And anyways, they were performing I Love It Loud, right?
Yeah.
And I'll let you take over because I never really I don't realize which verse he said or whatever.
They start going, and when he goes to start the vocals for whatever reason, Gene just starts going into the second verse. He just skips the
first verse.
Yeah. Yeah. And Garrett and I both look at each other and we're like, something's wrong here, but we also didn't connect what it was yet.
Yeah.
And then he goes into the second verse and he just redoes the second verse. So we were like, oh, that's what it was. He fucked it up.
He fucking sang the second verse twice.
Oh,
and it was
my
funny
God.
because usually when Gene fucks up, it's like he either gets the wrong song or just says like completely wrong words, but he was saying the right words.
Yeah, he was just too early.
And that's why we were like, wait, what? Like, is he fucking up or not?
Yeah,
You know?
because one of my favorite ones, which was my original reference that I was making when we got on this topic, I'm sure we've made fun of it with you over the years too. I can't remember because Garrett and I laugh about it all the time. I want to say it's in 76 because they're still in the Alive costumes, but it's after the initial like Alive release, and they're playing "Let Me Go Rock and Roll." And Gene's playing the correct bass line.
Mhm.
But when he starts singing, he goes into the lyrics of Rock and Roll All Night. And he catches it after a couple words because he starts singing. He goes, "You show us." And
Doesn't Paul walk up to the mic
Paul
and go,
runs
"No."
up to his mic from the background because he's in the back playing. He runs up and goes, "No," and just steps back.
Oh, man, that's classic. Yeah, I can't remember which show that is. I want to say it's Cobo Hall.
I want to say it's Cobo
it's
also.
75 or 76 Cobo Hall, but it was on their Alive tour because they were still technically.
Was it still the Alive tour?
Yeah,
okay.
their Alive tour lasted for like a long time, obviously, because they were just raking in so much money. And it was like the beginning of 76.
Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, it's just it's a great show, honestly. The full show is on YouTube, but it's funny because there are a couple fuck ups here and there like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like stuff like that, you're going to have to obviously fix in the studio. And
right.
I don't think it does it a disservice at all. You know, like, yeah, if it feels like a live album, then that's all I care about. You know, if you overdub some stuff, now we will talk about it. And that's the fact that the only thing that they kept from this album that was from the live recordings.
Holy.
What's up?
Like holy.
Holy. Yeah, like holy kept. I thought you were making a reference to unholy or something.
No,
I was like,
no, that's my bad.
No, you're good. But yeah, that they like wholly kept or fully kept. They was Peter's drums and Peter's vocals.
Right.
Everything else they pretty much did in the studio. And Eddie, the way he worded it, I don't know if he meant that, you know, the only full takes of something that they kept were Peter's drums and Peter's vocals.
I think so, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't do the best on researching this week.
No, you're good.
So it kind of I did some throughout the week, and then I kind of really hit it last night.
Right.
But again, Nothing to Lose is my source, which I'm about to run out of that book, but I've got like 7 others, so it's fine.
Right.
But apparently in Nothing to Lose, he also says like those were the only things that we wholly kept.
Yeah.
And then apparently this album's not as heavily studio edited as people like to make it out to be.
Really?
Yeah, and because I know someone who has pretty much claimed the album's almost fully studio edited, and there's almost no live tracks.
Right.
From
Well, that's
it.
what I always thought, because there's a couple interviews that Eddie has where he says, like, the way he words it, you're just like, okay, is he talking about literally the only things that are live about this album are the drums and Peter's vocals, or is he trying to say, like, you know, what you're saying is like that's the only full live tracks that they kept, you know, and then what they did was they blended a little bit of live track with some studio overdubs, which seems a more logical route. You know?
And because they also have one of his assistants that he had for that record interviewed in that book.
Oh, really?
And that guy says that he was the one doing the overdubs with the band while Eddie was actually mixing and picking all the tracks from the 4 different live shows that they recorded for this record.
Yeah, and you bring that up, and I do want to say real quick, this was recorded in 4 locations, and from what I have in my notes, it's Davenport, Iowa, Wildwood, New Jersey, Detroit, Michigan, and Cleveland, Ohio. But if you want to go ahead with what you were saying, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. From what they said collectively, and I want to say this one came directly from Eddie in that book, is that almost all of Ace's guitar solos are untouched. They touched up a couple, and they're mostly minor.
Really?
He didn't specify which tracks, but he pretty much did say Peter's drums, Peter's vocals, most of Ace's guitar solos are the actual thing you'd have heard live if you were there.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, I mean, the vocals are probably the most heavily touched thing because Paul and Gene specifically are moving around, and Paul especially jumping a lot, being very energetic. Of course, he's going to be off pitch, and so they're going to have to go in and fix some of that.
Right.
And apparently a lot of I keep saying that for some reason. But I guess a lot of his overdubs for Paul on the guitar were just like, oh, he hit a slightly sour note on this chord.
Right.
So let's go in and fix that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, of course, Gene's got some bum bass notes, but he's singing, playing the bass and moving around. I get it.
Yeah. I will say that makes sense because Ace, like, especially if you watch back, you know, videos back when they were on tour, he isn't super, it's not like he's one of the more energetic ones running around and stuff. He's very like laid back and chill while he's playing and stuff. He's really like, he's in the music.
Yeah.
You know?
You can definitely see him like grooving and like, he's still moving around. But he's not to the extent like Paul is, where Paul's literally jumping in 7-inch heels.
Yeah. And it's interesting because obviously you were talking about how Paul would get off pitch every, you know, now and then. And, there's this video, there's actually like a small documentary on Alive, and it aired on VH1, and it's called like World's Best Albums or Best Albums of All Time or Best. I can't remember what the like title of the show is, but they covered Alive on it. And they have interviews with Eddie, Gene, Peter, and Paul because I think it was like right before they were going to do Kiss Symphony. Or like right around they were doing Kiss Symphony. Ace was already out of the band because he left. He was like, I'm done. You know, we did our farewell tour. I don't want to have to come back. I want to just leave it be.
Right.
And basically, so they do have like snippets of an Ace interview, but back when they recorded when Kiss Ruled the World, which also aired on VH1.
Yeah.
But anyways, they talk, or like Eddie he's in the studio. And he shows a little bit, like he kind of shows you some of the multi-tracks of the stems, as we call it in the audio engineering world, of like just the isolated vocals from Peter and sometimes Paul, or like guitar notes and stuff. And there's a couple of Paul vocal stems that you hear and you're like, oh, wow, he definitely missed the mark on that. So he's like, that's something that we would go in and, you know, clear up and stuff like that.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say, oh, it's not heavily edited.
No,
of course it is.
yeah.
But like, I feel like there is also the misconception because, like I said, I do know someone who claims the album's almost entirely studio work.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not, exactly. Kiss, honestly, they did actually say that for the longest time, that it wasn't heavily studio, you know, or wasn't heavily edited. It was all live and stuff up until I'd say the last like 15, 20 years. That's when they started coming out and they're like, yeah, you know, they basically said, they were like, yeah, it's edited. Like there's no way that you're going to be able to record a band that runs around, jumps around, does all these gimmicks, and also has pyro going off all the time.
Exactly.
You know, you can't record that and expect it to come out perfect, you know?
Right. And because, I mean, it's not even like it's just the Beatles sitting there where they don't really move around a whole lot if you've ever seen video of them playing.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, they're they're working their asses off.
Yeah.
So even bands like AC/DC, you don't see them moving around all that much, so it makes it easier. But
exactly. I mean, maybe Angus and maybe Brian you do a little bit, but other than that, the rest of them just kind of chill.
Yeah, which if I had to guess is probably the reason like Peter's drums were so heavily untouched is because as a drummer, you can't move around that much unless you're moving to a different part of your kit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he can only fuck up with his energy so much.
And also another thing is, I think a big reason why the drums are untouched in this is because Eddie did say something about like he wished that Peter would have played a little bit slower, but that's how you know the drums aren't edited at all in this is because some of these songs on this album are super fast.
They speed them up, and I'm pretty sure Alive 2's that way too, where they speed up a lot of it, and I really think it's their later live albums where they kind of tone that back a little more.
Oh, especially Alive 3 and Kiss Symphony, but Kiss
Symphony's pretty good on tempo.
Symphony is a whole different beast because, you know, for half the set list they had, you know, either an ensemble or the full symphony orchestra, you know, so they have to
wait to get to that one.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be a fun one. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this album isn't, you know, it's not fully live, but it's not fully edited. It's a healthy mix of both.
Right.
And I could tell that a lot of, you know, I can kind of tell the Ace's solos are not heavily edited because if you look at, I mean, if you watch videos on YouTube of their live shows, he's usually pretty spot on from like 75 to 77, 78, like right before Dynasty and like the solo albums and everything. I mean, that was his prime. I love Ace, but that's his prime right there. He was so goddamn good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to add? Any little stories maybe from the tours after Dress to Kill? I mean, I don't really know much about the tours.
I don't really have a whole lot about the tours. I do have a couple fun little tidbits. One of which being it's kind of related to what Beau said, and then kind of the audio manipulation that a lot of people throw around about this album. Because Beau mentioned how venue can really affect how a live album sounds, and I definitely agree with him.
Oh yeah.
And I think this is one of the biggest examples because the venue in Wildwood, New Jersey was a 1,500 seat venue.
Right.
In Cobo Hall's 12,000.
Yeah.
And so apparently what they did was they took the tape loops and looped them like 50 times from the Wildwood shows to give them the same sort of feel that Cobo has.
Yeah. And I will say actually a very interesting part that that you bring that up because Eddie he's kind of known for his like, you know, wild techniques that he would use for like certain recordings and stuff like that. What they did is they took basically the audience tracks from each show and he like added and blended them together. And I want to say he talks about it in that VH1 documentary I was talking about, but he like splices the tapes together and he runs those tapes all the way through and around the studio around mics. That way they have a really long constant loop of all these audiences together. So yeah, like he literally took the tape and like out of the machine instead of running it around, you know, just the spool wheels. He took it and like basically stretched it out with mic stands, like so it would run across like mic stands and then come back through onto the tape and go back around through the studio and then come back in on the tape. And it's like, that's just something that like as me, like, cause like I did go to audio engineering school. I geek out over little stuff like that because it's cool. It's a way to get a sound through really creative means. You know what I mean?
And of course it kind of helps highlight well, no wonder this is where they really got their foot in the door in terms of record sales because they have touches like that really make it something else.
Exactly. And I do want to talk about a little bit that they wanted to, they recorded this because one, they were still, even after Dress to Kill and on the tours, like their live shows were killing it, but they weren't making any money back from those because like they weren't making any money from the record company because the record company would take any of the money that was getting made from album sales and putting it into the live show. Like they had a live show of a band that were millionaires, but they weren't millionaires. You know what I mean?
Well, and because that's a quote that I thought was interesting from Paul was people, I guess, would ask them, hey, what's it like to become rich and famous? And he said, well, I can tell you what it's like to become famous.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they still didn't have money, and it's been almost 2 years.
Yeah. And especially like when you look at their live crowds and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that they were performing for 30,000 a night, but they were performing, and their live show was literally what was getting them exposure for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And weirdly enough, even though their records aren't selling that well, they're selling out stadiums.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, who can say that they're selling 100,000 albums, and everywhere they go, they're selling out.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just basically this live album was a way for them to do another album and to try and capture that live feel, kind of like with what they did with Hotter Than Hell. But instead of like going in the studio, they were like, fuck it, we're just going to try and record it live. And, you know, they said, this is probably going to be the cheapest way to go, because like, yeah, we can afford studio time and whatnot, but that's still going to cost us money. If we just have somebody set up mics on the stage and everything like that and record directly into you know, a mobile recording console and stuff like that, which they would usually set up in like a van outside the venue, or maybe at the soundboard and stuff like that, like the front of house engineer or whatnot. This was the cheapest way to go. And so they hired Eddie Kramer. And I know you had an interesting little piece of info for me about when Eddie got the call to do this.
Yeah, that was another one that I only found out yesterday morning, and so of course I brought it to you yesterday while we were at work.
Yeah.
Apparently, when Neil called Eddie Kramer to do this record, and he's like, I mean, we need someone whose hand is really going to make a difference in this, because we need something that's going to keep us afloat. Eddie Kramer, I guess, had the demo for Boston's first album sitting on his desk, and he was fighting himself on which one he wanted to do. And I guess he re-listened to the Boston demo, called the guys from Boston and said, just put it out the way it is. I can't add anything to this.
Mm-hmm.
And then called Neil back and said, all right, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm like, who can say that? You know what I mean? He's literally the only person that can have a story like that.
Right. And that's what's crazy is, I want to say, is it Tom Schultz from, or Tom Scholes?
Yeah.
From Boston. Phenomenal songwriter. I mean, Boston has some really good songs, and that's basically what Eddie came to the conclusion of. He was like, dude, these are such good songs that I can't even do anything, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how Eddie kind of came on alive. And, you know, I mean, it's really, it's crazy how stuff like that in the music industry works, because when I was at school, I heard plenty of stories like that, you know, like I had to choose between this, or like this came up, and so I couldn't do that anymore. But then it led up, you know, this door opened up over here, and it's a good thing that this one did, because if I wouldn't have been rejected on that or turned down that offer, I never would have gotten this offer type thing. And it's really interesting, because I mean, honestly, if Eddie doesn't produce this live album, I don't know if I don't even know if we have Kiss.
Right.
And I'm not trying to basically gargle his balls here, but you know, it's,
I mean,
Eddie's
I think it's fair to say he's key in their success.
Exactly.
I would say I feel like this album was definitely a make or break for Kiss. And if it didn't work out, I think they were done.
Yeah. I agree. You know, they were literally throwing everything at the wall, and this was like their last, like, you know, their last fucking thing to just throw at the wall and see if it stuck. And needless to say, it did.
Yeah.
I want to say, hold on a sec. From what I have pulled up, it says that basically Alive provided Kiss with their first gold record, as you know, we had kind of talked about. And by the end of January of 1976, the album had gone platinum.
Okay.
So yeah, in their first platinum album. And then I want to say this is where a lot of their other records started popping off too. Maybe after Destroyer, and maybe after because I think a lot of their like early albums went gold or platinum in 1977, because that's when Kiss was the most popular.
It was a little later.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's nuts to think that this was their big break. I mean, they finally broke through into the mainstream with this.
Yeah. And I want to say it was a little before this album came out. We actually have the founding of the KISS Army.
Oh, yep.
Which founded in Terre Haute, Indiana, which
is an hour to the east of us.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we touched on it last week or 2 weeks ago. KISS was really popular in the Midwest, in the Rust Belt, like Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Iowa, Wisconsin. Like they had almost a cult following in this area in the Midwest. And, you know, Terre Haute, Indiana, like you said, KISS Army. And then, you know, later on down the road, I think you have Cadillac, Michigan, where, you know.
Yeah, it was the stuff in Cadillac happened just after this album came out.
Oh, really?
Or it started the year before, and then them going to Cadillac, playing at the school,
right?
You know, getting the key to the city happened just after this album came out.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, basically, KISS had gotten this huge following in Cadillac, Michigan, and it was basically after this football team was losing a bunch of games or something. If you want to go ahead and tell it, Tyler, I think you know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so they started their season, I want to say it was the 74 season.
Yeah. 74 or 75-ish.
Yeah, and that's part of why I want to say it was 74 is because I'm pretty sure it was the season before this record came out.
Okay.
And because what you've got pulled up here says September.
Gotcha.
And they were losing it. You know, they just weren't doing well, like together as a team, practice, games, everything.
Right.
And they lost their first 2 games. And the coaches kind of got together and said, hey, you know, like the kids aren't having fun. At least if we're going to do this, they need to have fun.
Yeah.
And so the assistant coach said, all right. So he went and took the record player from the library, brought in his own KISS records and started playing them for the band or for the team before practice. And they all kind of rallied behind that. And then they ended up changing their defense to be KISS themed. So they even had a blitz they called the Firehouse.
Right.
And after they kind of switched that up, they finished the season 7-2. They lost their first 2 games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And after from the 3rd game to the end of the season, they gave up an average of 7 points a game.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's seriously incredible. Basically, that happened. KISS somehow got notice of this.
It's the assistant coach that took the record player from the library. He noticed on the jacket to one of the records, it had the address for their management. So he wrote him a letter, and he thought originally like, oh, you know, best case scenario, they send me a poster and I can hang it up in the locker room.
Right.
They called him, and it was Gene and Paul called him before they went on stage for a show, like full makeup, costume, and everything. They telephoned, and they're like, hey, let us know how this goes, because like, you know, we want to know how you guys do.
Really?
And so he would call their management office every fucking week and tell them like, oh, hey, this is what happened this week. And they'd pass the message along, I guess. And eventually, like, he called them, found out they were playing in, I can't remember the name of the city now, but found out they were playing nearby, called the promoter for the venue and said, hey, we want to take some of the kids. So they sent them like 10 free tickets.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And then after that, they found out that they were going to be playing a different town in Michigan, like, I want to say a couple months later.
Yeah.
And so he called the management and said, hey, would there be any way we could get them to come to like our homecoming pep rally and have them like sign autographs? They didn't even ask him to play initially. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, we can probably work something out. The band would love to do that.
Yeah.
And then they asked him like, oh, well, what if we had some like guitars and stuff like set aside for him? Do you think they'd be interested in playing a couple songs? And they went, well, no, because they don't want to use other people's equipment, so we'll bring ours.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And basically it turned into this Kissteria, as they call it.
Yeah. They even changed the name of one of the streets in town to Kiss Boulevard for a while.
Exactly. And then everybody was in makeup. Everybody, you know, even I think they even had a state senator there, and he was in full makeup too. Dang. Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
I know they had a like city council meeting during that time, and all the members of the city council went to the meeting in full makeup.
Yeah, what were you saying?
That also just shows how they cared about their fans too.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Especially that early on, when they could have more time to be able to do stuff like that.
And I think Ace covers it in No Regrets, but he talks about how they did a little show and like they had a parade and whatnot and signed autographs. And then on the football field, they had a helicopter. After they were all done, they like walk over, get on the helicopter. They wave by. They have this badass, like segue out of there. They're just like looking like badasses just flying off. And they literally just like took the helicopter from the football field, like flew it up over like 3 blocks and then dropped it back down so they could get off, just to make it look like they were like flying out of there to go to a show or something.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think Ace says that in his book, and he's like, it's the funniest shit ever because it looked like we were, like these badasses just leaving and going off in a helicopter, but really they just had it there so we could go over like 2 blocks and then get back in our cars and leave.
That's awesome though.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, that just goes to show how much of a fan following they had, and their records just weren't doing good. But I think, did this stuff happen after the release of Alive or before the release of Alive?
The whole stuff with them actually playing at the high school and like getting the key to the city, I want to say it was a month after Alive because it was October that happened.
Okay, gotcha. But the Kiss Army was before.
Kiss Army was, I want to say, April of 75.
Really?
And then I want to say the season where they went 7-2 at Cadillac was the season before that. So it would have been their first 2 records coming out.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I mean, I don't really have much else to say about this. I think we go ahead and get into the album artwork. What do you guys say?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm ready.
All right. And with that being said, we'll be right back.
Does everybody feel all right? Is everybody having a real good time?
Alrighty. And so now we're going to go ahead and cover the album artwork like we do every episode. I don't have much to say about this cover, but we'll just go ahead and break it down. I mean, pretty awesome cover. I mean, that's going to grab your attention. And I know a lot of what people say about Alive, a lot of musicians that do interviews and stuff like that, will talk about this is what grabbed their attention. They saw 4 dudes who looked like superheroes and just badasses on a cover with, smoke and lights and everything. And they were like, this literally looks like a comic book type thing. I want to, listen to this.
Right.
And a lot of people were really captured by that. You have the trio of Gene, Ace, and Paul at the front, and then Peter back behind his drum set, basically simulating that live album feel because it's a picture of them playing live. Now, granted, it is a photo shoot,
right?
But it is capturing that feel of a live album, basically saying like, hey, this is a live album. And I don't know. I mean, do you guys have any comments on it?
With the smoke, you almost kind of can't see Peter.
I know.
It's kind of weird. Obscures him a little bit. And I wonder, because I mean, of course, anything we see now is going to be up-resed and, touched up. So I actually kind of wonder what it would have looked like on an original copy of how distorted he would have looked.
I do have, hold on just one second. I have a pressing of Alive on vinyl and, yeah, I mean, it is NBLP 7020 798. So it isn't one of the original pressings, but I'm sure they didn't do much editing to the actual cover.
Probably not.
I mean, even then you can't really you can kind of see Peter.
You can see him. You can't make out detail too well though.
Yeah. So, but I mean,
I'm okay with it. Because, I mean, it does capture that live feel, and you're going to have smoke all over the place.
Right.
You're setting off pyro and stuff. So, obviously, you're not going to see the drummer all that much.
Exactly.
Right, which I think is kind of the curse of being a drummer, you know what I mean? But
I think that's why they had him raise his hands up, like, as if they're doing a huge rock ending, maybe just to grab the attention of, okay, there's a drummer back here.
Right, yeah. And because this is honestly probably one of my favorite Kiss covers.
Really?
If I'm being honest. It encapsulates them live perfectly.
Yeah.
And it's the first cover we get from them that's something. Because, we talked about the simplicity of the first couple and especially their first one where it's just their heads.
Yeah.
Which, of course, if you see that, you're going to think, well, what am I looking at? Because there wasn't anything like them at the time. And, of course, now we have them.
Right.
But and as iconic as I think Dress to Kill is, this really encapsulates them.
Yes.
Especially getting their full costumes, which, I mean, you kind of get on Hotter Than Hell, but
yeah,
it's just kind of there.
There.
this is one of the pictures that I think of when I think Kiss.
Yeah. I agree, man. And like there's not really much I have to like ding about this album cover. It's not one of my I like it a lot, but it's not one of my favorites. I do like that they do have the candles in the background. I can't remember what that's called.
Candelabra.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment about that because I wonder if it's just to fill space because there's more dead space on that side if it's not there than there is like on Paul's side.
Yeah, I know they used to have that during a lot of their early shows, like through 70, especially on like the original tours of, Kiss and Hotter Than Hell, Dressed to Kill. And obviously that's technically the tour, like the Dress to Kill tour is technically what they were recording from,
right?
But yeah,
I almost wonder if they have that to kind of give it more of that like gothic kind of feel,
right?
Because that is Gene's side of the stage typically, and so I almost wonder if they had that in not even just the record, just their live show to kind of give him more of that like
stoic type feel to his part of the stage, which actually when we get to Destroyer, I do want to talk about the stage a little bit because it's really cool. They do a lot with their stages, but I mean, this cover, man, I mean, do you have anything you want to say about it, Beau?
It's pretty simple, self-explanatory. I mean, it's just four dudes playing a show.
Yep. One part that does kind of irritate me is I wish Ace was facing the other way and didn't have his guitar in a weird spot, because it's flipped upside down. And I think they did that because they want to show the, face of the guitar.
I never noticed
the back of the, and not the back of it, but it's flipped upside down because if he were just to be playing it regular, you would see the back of it. I wish he was flipped the other way. That way it doesn't look like he's holding it weird. But I know he does kind of do some weird stuff with his guitar when he's playing, so it's not too out of line.
You know what I mean? About weird positions. I mean, Gene's playing his bass like up here.
Yeah,
I think it's more meant to be a like
rock ending.
Yeah, where he's kind of hitting it and then striking a pose with it.
Because I think I've seen him do that in a show. Paul looks pretty basic in the sense of like he's not doing anything crazy, which I think is funny because he's usually the most energetic on the stage, him and Gene. But I really like, I will say, I think it's great that they put Ace at the center because I think his outfit is probably my favorite out of all four of theirs. You can't really see Peter's, but especially with those silver lightning bolts on his thigh and his like rib cage and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it helps him stand out more.
Yeah, and I think it really grabs your attention, which is cool. So, I mean, you also get a first, like if you had never seen them live, you get a sneak peek or a first look, I guess you could say, at the Kiss logo up in the top, like the lighting logo, which is literally like famous on its own because no band was ever, I mean, you would have like a banner that said, the Beatles or Rolling Stones or something, but you never had like a full, like lighted, like, I mean, that's almost prototype LED board shit right there. You know what I mean? Where people have big LED boards behind them with their band logo and stuff. But Kiss was really innovative in making sure you knew who the fuck you were seeing.
Right.
But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I know we are a little bit short on time today while recording this. But what are your guys's like out of 10 overall ratings? I think we usually do. What would you give this, Beau?
I would probably have to go. I'd give it a 10. Really? I like this album cover.
Wow,
it's a really solid one.
First 10 out of 10, I think. Anything else you want to mention?
Not really. I mean, it's just the first look you get of all of them playing their instruments, and then you get into the tracks. So,
feel you, man. What about you, Ty?
I actually think I'm going to agree with Beau. I think I'm going 10 out of 10. It just, like I said, it is one of the images that when I think Kiss, it's one of the first things that comes to mind. So, I mean, for me, it's impossible to separate.
Right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to give it a 7. I don't know. I don't know what it is, and
it's It's Ace's guitar flipped over. That's what it is.
That is part of it for me. But on a good day, I would give it an 8. On a bad day, I'd give it a 7. So it's not like I hate this album cover.
Right.
But like I said, it's just not one of my favorites.
Fair.
It's not the first cover I think of when I think about Kiss. But yeah, I'll give it a 7.
Well,
Hey, I don't know that's the first cover, but it's
Yeah.
one of the first images I
Images,
think
I
of
feel
when I
like
think of them.
it's not the first cover I think of,
Right.
but like the lights coming through the smoke
Yeah.
on them just looks cool.
Yeah. It's definitely iconic. I won't argue with that at all. Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much does it for the album artwork. It's just something that really captures your attention and sends a statement about what this is going to be about, you know? So, all right. I think next we're going to get into the track list. Don't go anywhere.
Is everybody ready to rock and roll?
All right. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Usually we go through track by track on albums and do a little bit of an analysis, talk about the song, tell who it was written by. But since this is a live album and, you know, we have technically covered all of these songs before already, we're just going to kind of go through really quick on these track lists and or on these tracks, I should say, and just maybe give a few words, nothing too much, maybe talk about songs that we like that, you know, benefit from them playing it live, or maybe songs that we don't like because they played it live and it kind of hinders it, which I don't really think that'll be the case for, I mean, any of them. We might have some disagreements on, you know, what they should have done live and all that different stuff. And I don't think there's any song on here that we absolutely hate because they did live, you know?
Right.
I hate this entire album.
So let me see. I want to make sure that I have this correct. So yeah, it's a 16-track album. It's basically a compilation of a bunch of songs that they played during tours. I don't know if this is the exact set list that they were playing on the Dress to Kill tour. They may have added in certain songs because they knew that they were going to be recording a live album, you know?
Right.
But without further ado, the first track on the album, Deuce, which I want to talk about the intro to this. This is the first time you get to hear you wanted the best, you got the best, the hottest band in the land, Kiss. And you get that fucking awesome intro from Deuce. I don't think any other song fits better as an opening track for a live album, live performance, or anything.
And I think that's why we all, especially in the first episode, so heavily associated it with opening their shows.
Yes, exactly. Deuce, we've already really covered this song. Fucking awesome song. I do like the energy from the live version. I mean, you guys got anything to say?
The energy from this entire album.
Yeah.
It's just amazing anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is one of the songs that really gained something from this album. Because I don't like the fade out that it does on the record, on the first record.
Yeah.
I like that it gives that extended solo and them playing as a band. You know, you kind of get that fun vibe from them.
Right.
So I really think it's one that gains something out of this version.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. Yeah, so that's Deuce. Just a fucking awesome track, and I think the energy from this live performance just blows the studio version away. And unfortunately, that's a lot of these songs, compared to the studio album versions, in my opinion. I'm not going to speak for you guys. Let's see here. Strutter, another awesome one. Obviously, this is the first time you get the double fill, as I like to call it.
Does it do that? For some reason,
instead of just doing it one time, it does it like for 2 measures.
Does it?
Yep.
Weird. For some reason, when I was listening to it, I don't remember doing
Really?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no, it does. And we'll double check real quick.
Okay.
Yep. So we checked it. It does, and also on She, which we'll get to. He does the instead of just hitting the
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, this song, there's not much to say about it. I love the solos. I actually like the live solos better than the studio solos because they are a little bit different, but that's any Ace solo that's live.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, most bands in general probably do that to some extent.
Yeah. You're not going to be able to play it note for note every single time.
Exactly. You especially get it here, though.
Yeah. Did you want to say anything on this, Beau? I mean,
I like this song better live.
Really?
Like I said, the studio version is good, but this live version really goes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue on that. I don't think it necessarily gains anything like Deuce kind of does from the live version, other than that extra measure at the beginning, which I do like.
Right.
But, I think I agree. I like it better live.
Yeah. I think Paul's vocal performance live on this is what makes me like it better.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, we're going to go on to Got to Choose, track number 3, which is obviously from Hotter Than Hell. And I love this song live. I really do. I think it's
I think it benefited from being live.
Yeah. I think a lot of Hotter Than Hell songs benefit from being live because
you get the actual feel of what they were going for on the record, as opposed to the way they delivered it on the record.
Yeah. Great song. I think Ace's solo sounds better on this than the live, or than the studio album, I should say. I mean, not much to say. We'll just
like you said, they sped up most of this, but
yeah,
dude, this song is just
right. Hotter Than Hell, one that's super sped up.
I was gonna say that too. Holy crap!
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure,
it's dramatic.
Yeah, an already maybe like 3-minute song. I can't remember how long it is on Hotter Than Hell, is like sped up to like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I feel like they do have that little coda at the end, not from Let Me Know, but the one that's actually on the studio.
Right.
Which
I think, regardless of the version, is my favorite part of the song.
Yeah, same. That part just is awesome. Next we got Firehouse, which I know this is one that me and Tyler definitely prefer over the studio version, because they do a little bit more with the guitar solo.
Yeah, this is the version of the guitar solo I think of whenever I think of the song.
Yeah.
I like the way they extended it, and it fits so well.
Right.
This is the version I always think of.
And I'm not gonna lie, every time, like, I listen to this version so much that when I go back and listen to the studio version, it sounds wrong. And like when it doesn't go into that like little second part of the solo that we know from the live version, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it catches you off guard.
Yeah, I do it too, especially because I think you did the same thing, where the version that we both learned to play of the solo is this version.
Yep.
And so I hear it and I'm like, well, that's not right.
Right.
Even though it technically is, this is the altered version.
Exactly.
But I never think of it that way, which I also do love in the song when they come back to the chorus at the end after the solo. They don't go straight into the, get the firehouse. They just go, Firehouse. I don't know why. I just love the way that's delivered. So whenever even when I listen to the studio version, when it goes back into that, I don't go directly into that. I will literally, in my car, the record's playing, I just go, Firehouse.
That's great. Did you want to say anything, Beau? I do want to ask you a question. What do you think of this song on the live album being so early in the set list? Because I know you said this is a song that they probably could have ended on.
If you're not going to end with this song on an album, at least put it towards the bottom,
right?
Or it's like you can have the sirens going off and everything. Put it into like going into Rock and Roll All Night.
That'd be cool.
That'd be a cool one. But
I could also see, because I don't know how this splits with how the record is, since it's technically a 4-sided record.
Yeah.
If it's the first song on a side or the last song on a side, I think it fits well.
Oh yeah. Firehouse is the last song on side 1.
Oh really?
So that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, no,
that makes more sense,
right? Yeah. For at least a live album perspective, I mean, seeing them live, obviously you'd be like, man, like Gene's, breathing fire. They got red lights going, sirens, smoke is everywhere. You would think like, damn, is this the end of the show?
Right. Which honestly, I bet at least some of the shows on the tour, they probably closed out with the song. I can't imagine they wouldn't, but
you never know. Just a real quick side note. I'm looking at some of these songs and they have asterisks by some of these songs, names like Deuce, Strutter, She, Watching You, Black Diamond, Colgin. I don't know.
Does it have a legend at the bottom for what the asterisks? Check the bottom of the black label up at the top.
Nope, nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Here, can I say it real quick?
Yeah. While he's checking that out, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, yeah, Firehouse is probably one of my favorites off this album, just because of the live version. But next we're gonna go to track number 6, Nothing to Lose. And I don't particularly love this song, but I don't hate it live. It's just there, you know.
It's kind of like the studio version. You don't love it, but you don't hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so Tyler was looking up the asterisk legend on this album, and it says all songs published by Cafe Americana / Rocksteady Music Group from ASCAP, also known as ASCAP, except asterisks, as indicated, also co-published by Gladwin Music ASCAP. So that's what that stood for.
Interesting.
I was confused. I was like, why is there some asterisks next to certain songs?
Yeah, because I figured it would have something in there that would indicate why that was there. And if it wasn't there, at least on the inside, like dust jacket,
right,
there has to be something. They couldn't just put that there and not explain why that's there.
Exactly. So yeah, that's Nothing to Lose. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I still like the song because I just like the energy of it and the swing, but
right. Nah.
it's there. It's another one. I don't feel like it really gains anything from the live version of it. It's fun,
right,
but it doesn't really give me anything to add.
Yeah. We're gonna go to Come On and Love Me. I don't have much to say about this version of the song. I do like it a little bit more on this album than I do Dressed to Kill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking Hotter Than Hell. I always get Coming Home and Come On and Love Me like mixed up in my head on which albums they're on.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think?
I love this song live.
Yeah.
Same.
Really?
I liked the studio version, but I love this song live. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. This is probably my favorite version of that song.
Cool. All right, we're gonna go on to Parasite, and holy fuck, the live version of this song is awesome.
Man, did this do it justice?
Oh yeah, and honestly, I like the studio version of this song a lot, but holy shit, this just blows it out of the water. I mean, you have that little bit of an extended, not really drum solo, but it's just like a
longer
interlude,
fill.
type thing, which is awesome. And the energy of this song live is so awesome, especially when Ace and Peter are playing together by themselves during that little middle section, like going into the solo. So awesome.
I said we loved it on the studio version, and not much has changed. It's just better quality.
Yeah, agreed.
And that better quality just makes it sound so much better.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's not much really else to say about that. Just awesome performance by everybody involved. Track number 9, She, which is another song that really benefits from being live because they do it I feel like it's really slow on the album, and they speed it up a little bit on the on a live, but it's still pretty slow. I just think it has a lot more swing in the live version, which is why I like it. I think Peter's drumming on this is fucking awesome. And then also they have the coda from Let Me Know, which was off of their first album. And they take that coda and they put it on the end of this one, which then leads into Ace Frehley's guitar solo after that, which is a very short guitar solo. It's only like 45 seconds long on the album, which I'm sure they probably cut down. And that pretty much ends this track. You guys have any?
I love the coda on this song.
Mm-hmm. I think it's
especially like transition from the song into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think this is one of the songs that gets a bigger benefit from what they did with it live, especially adding that coda on at the end. This is the version of She I'll probably always listen to.
Right. So, yeah, Ace's, I don't know if you guys really remember much of Ace's guitar solo at the end of this song. It's kind of, it's not basic, but it's it's not too flashy. Like he does obviously, you know, a really good job with it, but I actually like his solo from Alive 2 a little bit better, like just his own guitars. I'm not talking about the solo within the song. I'm talking about where it's just him on the stage. But yeah, that pretty much sums it up for She. I want to go to track number 10, Watching You, which is probably one of my favorites off this album. I love this song live. I think it's a fucking awesome jam track. It just, they really have fun with it. You guys got anything to say about it?
I agree. It sucks that this didn't make my top 3 for Hotter Than Hell.
Right.
Because it's probably one of my favorite Kiss songs just in general.
Yeah.
I love this version of the song.
Cool. Well, that's good.
I mean, I like I like this song. I liked it on the studio version, and it's better quality. Like Parasite, obviously. Yeah. It's not one of my favorites.
Right.
Like I'll still listen to it if you throw it on. But it's not going to be the one I go back to off this album.
Nothing wrong with that either. We'll go to track number 11, 100,000 Years. Now, holy fuck.
This might be where we get some backlash.
See, I'm not going to lie. I mean, even though it's a 12-minute song on the album, I still like it a lot. I know you guys listened to it the other night or something while you guys were at the drive-thru and took a really long time to get through it. You guys thought it was very long-winded or something.
Okay, so the record version is 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
They upped it to 12 here. I like the drum solo. I really do. I think part of my problem with it is I like other versions of Peter's drum solo for this song better.
Right.
And it kind of hits a point in the middle where it flounders a little bit, where you get Paul kind of coming in doing his little like rap thing.
Do you feel all right?
Yeah, that's where this version of this song hits a wall for me.
Right.
And so if you trim about 2 minutes off this song, I think it's a little better.
At least from that drum solo.
Yeah.
The latter half. I think we talked about it. I like the first half of the drum solo way better.
Yes.
And before I get your opinion, I do want to say there's a lot of really cool mixing techniques on this album because through a lot of these songs, you can hear a lot of phaser on the drums, like a lot of phase and flange and stuff on the drums, which is really interesting. And I don't know if that was Eddie's choice or the mixer's choice. Maybe Eddie mixed it too. I don't know, but
I want to say he did.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think it sounds really cool, especially during the drum solo part. But that being said, Beau, what's your take on it?
I love the song. I love the drum solo. Like Tyler said, though, that just draws out a little too long, and I'm like, all right, you're losing me here, man. Like,
yeah, it gets a little too long in the tooth. And because when we were sitting in the drive-thru the other night, like I said, we started the song about when we got to the menu board, and by the time we got to the window, it was still going. And like, we were in a slow drive-through. And we both, by the time we got to the window, I think we both kind of just looked at each other and went, move on.
Shit. We're like, Jesus Christ, this song.
All right. Well, to stay true to your guys' opinions, I don't want to keep on this song too much longer than what we need. Let's go ahead and move on to Black Diamond. I like this version live. I think it blows away the studio version. I think Beau agrees with me on that, especially because they don't have that long droney part at the end of it like they do on the studio version.
I love every version of this song.
Yeah.
And I think it was the Live at BC Stadium was the one I said that I didn't like.
Yeah.
I just something about it. I just don't like that version. But this song is, like, again, my hands down favorite song of all time from Kiss. So,
I do like it, and I agree. It, without having that droney part where the sink is shipping,
Fuck off.
Love you, buddy.
That's payback for me shitting on Beau last week with the 6 top 3 songs.
No, don't worry about it. You'll get your chance to shit on me at some point too. It's fine. But love you, buddy.
Love you too.
It just, I think I agree. I like that it doesn't have that. It's still got that section in it, but it doesn't have that slowly descending drop to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I I think it is a better version of the song.
Right. And this does technically close out the show. If you listen to the record, they kind of come out for an encore with Rock Bottom,
Right.
Cold Gin, Rock and Roll Night, Let Me Go Rock and Roll.
Well, because I was listening to it and I kept thinking, why'd they pick Rock Bottom as an encore?
Right.
Like that seemed out of place. To
Yeah.
me, but
Sorry, with Rock Bottom being mentioned, we'll go ahead and switch to that song, which is track number 13. I like this song a lot better live because we talked about it last week. They shorten up the intro by like 30 seconds.
yeah, I was gonna say it looked like they chopped a good 30
like
seconds.
30 to 40 seconds of it is just they chopped it and they go into the actual, like full band part of it, which I think Paul's vocals on this is pretty solid. Really like it. I would listen to this live version 9 times out of 10 over the fucking, studio version.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd probably agree.
I think
I don't really have anything else to say about this version.
yeah, and I think I like the fact that it sounds like it's played on an electric on a live instead of the acoustic like it is the studio version.
Right.
Any thoughts from you, Beau?
No.
Nothing. All right. All right.
At least he's honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, I mean, some of these songs I really don't have an opinion on either. Much of, I should say. We'll go ahead and go to track number 14, Cold Gin. I like it. I like it better than the studio version, in my opinion.
I don't remember this song.
Really?
It's another one where they add to it, and I like that.
Yeah.
Because they kind of add an actual solo in, even though it's not like
Right.
a whole lot.
More towards the latter end of the song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Track number 15, Rock and Roll All Night.
Still
Infinity.
overplayed.
And
Still.
it's first off, you didn't even know there was a solo on. Just kidding.
I don't care. Still overplayed.
I'm kidding. I was like, oh, Rock and Roll Night. I'm not gonna fucking listen to that shit.
Okay.
Even though there's a kick-ass guitar solo on this
Yeah,
version.
no,
I'm fucking with you, Beau.
this version of the song takes it from like a 5 or 6 up to like an 8. Like
yeah,
it's just so much better than what the version that was on the record.
Yeah.
I'm stupid not talking into my mic.
no, you're good.
But it really, in my opinion, enhances the song to the nth degree.
Right. And I think, you pretty much covered it. The solo is just fucking awesome. And it's one of my top 10 solos, from Ace. And it's a shame that it wasn't on the studio version, but I think that's kind of cool. It makes this version unique,
Yeah. Which I do also like Paul's little intro at the beginning of it instead of just going into the song,
Oh, yeah. So let's rock and roll all night and party every day.
Yeah, because anytime I think of the song, I hear that.
Yeah.
Even if it's the studio version.
Right.
But
Cool. And the last track number 16, Let Me Go Rock and Roll. Love this version way more than the studio version because the studio version is short as fuck. It's only like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, this is almost 6.
Yeah, and you can tell that this is obviously the song that they ended on a lot because they add so much to the song, and it's like the last half of the song is literally just them just jamming out, and there's like no vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Which I honestly really like. I like the addition of the bass and drum kind of interplay where it's just them going back and forth.
I like that.
And then, can you really complain when you get Maurice Frehley?
No, not at all.
Really?
I can, but at the end of the day, I'll just look stupid. So
I was gonna say, me and Tyler just said, "What?" we were like ready to pounce.
Who is it? Nick Young, the meme where
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Oh man, Beau playing devil's advocate. It's actually Beau's advocate now. So
Beau's unpopular opinions.
All right. That's the track list. Solid track list, honestly. I think they picked a lot of really good songs. I wish they would have put Love Her All I Can in this. Man,
I really agree with you.
Man, I wish that song was in this.
Did I play you the version from the demo or from the Wicked Lester album?
No.
Yeah.
You'll have to show that to me later. Is it bad? A lot of their demos are rough.
Okay.
But they're demos.
Okay, so imagine kind of like what they did with because have you heard the Wicked Lester version of She either?
I think I've heard a little bit of it.
Okay, because they kind of what they did with it is they add more like kind of pipe sounding stuff. So instead of having that little guitar solo at the beginning of She, it's kind of more like pipes. And it sounds weird, especially knowing what it is. But they man, Love Her All I Can on the Wicked Lester one. It's not the same song.
Right.
It's like hearing Bad Bad Lovin' and then hearing Dr. Love, and you're like, those are not the same thing, even though they're almost identical.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Well,
it's like listening to Ladies in Waiting again.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
We were having a good episode, Beau, and you come in and you mention that goddamn song.
Don't throw a pile of trash on gold, Beau.
All right. I think we're good to go into our 3-in-1, and we'll be right back.
I want to know how many of our friends here tonight like to party.
All right. And I'm going to let Tyler explain what we're going to do on this one, just because we have obviously done our 3-in-1s for technically all of these songs or all the 3 albums that they chose from for this live album. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to him, and he's going to explain what we're going to do.
Alrighty. So we pretty much just kind of talked about it and thought it'd be better if we picked, instead of, because like you said, we have picked from the albums these all came off of before. So instead of picking, what are our 3 favorites, and then picking 3 we've already picked, even if they're all off 3 different albums, just picking songs that benefited from this format and, kind of what they did with them live instead of just doing that. And then were you wanting to do a 1 for this? Because we could, but I almost feel bad saying this is basically a best of album, and fuck that song.
I wouldn't even say it as a discard song, but just as one song that we just maybe didn't think there was nothing that came from it and nothing that was lost from it,
Okay, fair.
I'm gonna go ahead and do mine real quick. I think the 3 songs, in my opinion, that benefit from this the most are Let Me Go Rock and Roll, Firehouse, and I almost want to say Parasite. Those are my 3. Let Me Go Rock and Roll, Firehouse, and Parasite. Those are my 3 that I think benefit from this a lot, and benefit not necessarily the most, but benefit very well from this. But yeah, that's mine. Y'all can go ahead with yours. Whoever wants to go first.
Ours are almost identical.
Really?
Yep. I would also say Let Me Go Rock and Roll. And Firehouse. I'm giving the third nod to Rock and Roll All Night, though, just because that guitar solo changes the song so much.
True. That was going to be my third.
Granted, I love Parasite, so I want to say Parasite, but
right. Go ahead, Beau.
My 3 are actually Gotta Choose.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I was just very surprised that you said that.
Come On and Love Me. And then Rock and Roll All Night.
Wow.
Okay, fair.
Okay. I respect it. Definitely going different. Any reasoning for those first 2 that you want to talk about? I'm not saying you need to reason or anything.
To Choose, it suffered from the production quality of Hotter Than Hell. And like we said with Parasite, the production quality helped it.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Right.
And I mean, it's cleaner on here and stuff, but it's cleaner on Gotta Choose too, and it just sounds so much better.
I can agree to that. All right, I think my one song that just doesn't really gain but doesn't really lose is Nothing to Lose. That's just it. I don't, there's literally nothing that I can say about that song. So if you guys want to go ahead and do yours.
I would also have to say Nothing to Lose.
You and I are same wavelength this week.
Nothing to lose.
Yeah, it just. Yep. I agree. It doesn't really gain anything, but
but it also has nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly. At least Beau got to choose this week, though.
God damn it! All right. Well, with that being said, and our shitty puns to save you guys from. All right. I'm gonna go fuck myself. I don't know why I said that. That made no fucking sense whatsoever.
Let me go fuck myself.
All right. Since we are a little bit short on time, we're gonna go ahead and just go straight into the certified ratings portion of this segment. We'll be right back. Alrighty, Beau, let me hear it. certified rating out of 10 for this. I about said studio live album again, but fuck it, we'll just call it that.
Fair.
For this first live album from Kiss.
I think this is getting my first 10, guys.
Really?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
This album is amazing. Very well put together.
All right.
I'm going to say a 9 just because there's not a whole lot to harp on about the album. I want to be a little reluctant to give 10s though.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I'm not, because I mean, if I'm being honest, it probably deserves it.
Yeah.
But
I feel you, because like, I don't want to give because we're going to be coming up on a stretch of albums that are fucking awesome.
if I'm being honest, I'm probably about to stab myself in the back because the next 4 are probably all about to get 10s. If I'm being honest.
So
even though it, as we'll get into next week, a little controversial, not the biggest Destroyer fan, but
all right. Nothing wrong with that.
I like it. It just,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that a little bit louder for all of the people?
you trying to get me crucified?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
That's funny.
Wait, which album could you not hear? 1, the tie for 2, or the 3-way tie for 3?
Oh my goodness, we are roasting each other.
It comes from a place of love.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, let's see here. I think I'd have to give this I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Actually, no, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I love this album. The only thing that holds it back for me is you can't hear the fucking kick drum on this goddamn album.
Man,
I love this album, and I've been waiting to say that for this whole episode, but I don't know if it was Eddie's choice or if they just didn't get a good recording of their kick drum, but holy shit, you cannot hear it at all.
4 albums in and they still don't know how to mic a kick drum.
No, not at all. It starts to change. Bob Ezrin saves the day. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The only thing holding it back is a little bit of mixing, and I can't talk shit because obviously, they did way better with what I would have done with it. But
well, after we crucified the production on Hotter Than Hell,
yeah,
I mean,
fuck it.
Which, I mean, Kerner and Weiss admit they deserve crucifying for that.
Right.
But
yeah. So that's the certified ratings. Beau with the 10 out of 10, Tyler with a 9 out of 10, and myself with a 9 out of 10. We have a really fun episode coming next week, and I cannot wait to dive into it because we're going to be covering the 4th studio album, Destroyer.
yeah, I'm super excited to
yeah.
hear what you have to say because I know you've been researching this almost as long as we've been doing any of the podcasts.
The podcast,
so far.
yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with this album.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I don't hate this record.
Yeah.
I know that people like it more than I do, though.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be fun because this is the album that sent them into stardom. They got their foot in the door with Alive, like you said on previous episodes, and they kind of burst into the mainstream a little bit, got people talking about them in like commercial sales and stuff like that. But Destroyer is really where they took off, and it's a fucking awesome. I mean, it's an awesome album in the sense of how big of an impact it had on American culture. It is a pop culture icon in terms of albums. Everything from the album artwork to the music to the producers to what it did for Kiss, everything. So I'm really excited to get into that next week and really excited to get your guys' opinions because I know this is a album that I think we all kind of differ on.
I'm going to be interested because I'm going to bet I already know what your 1 is going to be next week. And it's probably going to be
Discard.
Yep.
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
probably going to be
know.
one of my 3.
Yep. I know. I think we talked about this a while back before we even talked about doing this podcast. So yeah, it's going to be a fun episode. Please tune in next week when we drop that one. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and check out the last 3 episodes we've done. We've done the first self-titled album, Kiss. We've done Hotter Than Hell. We've done Dressed to Kill. Obviously, this episode is Alive, and we're just going to keep moving down that freight train of albums that, they released 500 in less than 4 years. So
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just go check out those episodes. They're really cool, really fun, and you'll get more of an in-depth view of these songs and, a little bit of information on the songwriting history behind them, maybe a little bit more of a track analysis. Like I said, this episode, we just wanted to kind of keep it short. Didn't want to go into it too much because we have already covered a lot of these songs. Actually, we've covered every single one of these songs, but yeah. Thanks guys for listening as always. And I just want to say that if you guys are still listening, don't be afraid to, give us a share on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're listening, we really do appreciate anybody who does listen to this podcast. It means a lot to us. We're still going to be going regardless of who listens. We love talking about Kiss, and we hope you guys enjoy that. With that being said, I think that does it for this episode. What do you think, guys?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't think I really have anything else to add. It just, if you're listening, thanks.
Mhm.
We hope you like it. If we can find a way to hear your feedback, we'd love to, even if it's just your opinion on the album.
Right. If you guys have any feedback on this podcast, stuff that you think would be awesome for us to cover, or talk about, or maybe segments and stuff like that, you can find me on Instagram, as king_nothing_music, and just DM me, tell me you're a listener of this podcast. I post on the Kiss subreddit every week with our new episodes, so you can also get a hold of me there. Just comment on those threads of how to of what you think we could do to make it a little bit better.
And if you disagree with our opinions, let us know.
Yeah. If you disagree, you can fuck right off. No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you guys. Seriously, we would like some constructive criticism. We want to make sure this is a good show for you guys to enjoy. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to add, but like I said, thank you guys. And for myself, for Tyler, and for Beau, we will see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Love you.